Today we're going to talk about tense correlations with the subjunctive or sequence of tenses in the subjunctive. In Italian it's concordanza dei tempi al congiuntivo, and I can already hear you groaning. I know it's not the most exciting or the easiest topic, but we have to talk about it, so here goes. Let's just briefly review the four forms of the subjunctive. You know there are four of them. Let's take the verb arrivare as an example because it's a very common verb. The present subjunctive is che io arrivi. Of course, the verb is just arrivi and then che io just gives it the context. Past subjunctive is che io sia arrivato o arrivata for a woman. Imperfetto che io arrivassi e trapassato che io fossi arrivato. Trapassato would be past perfect or pluperfect subjunctive. So the forms are not an issue. You can find them on any verb chart anywhere, but which subjunctive do I use in which context? Let's talk about that. Here's an example of a sentence, penso che tu sia una brava persona, okay? We have the main clause, penso, and then the subordinate clause, che tu sia una brava persona. The main clause is in the present now, and so is the subordinate clause, because what I'm saying is I think that you are a nice person. I think right now that you are right now a good person. So these two are concurrent, they're both in the present, and I have no issues. I'm just using the present tense. However, if I say credo che lui sia arrivato a casa ieri sera, what I'm saying is that right now I believe that he arrived home last night. So right now my main clause is in the present in this moment, but I believe that he arrived yesterday to his house. So my subordinate clause happened before my main clause, and that's why I'm using the past subjunctive. So here's the rule. If in the main clause I have present tense, or I could also have future or imperative, they're not as common, but they're possible, then in my subordinate clause I only have two options. I can either use the present subjunctive or the past subjunctive. It depends on whether my subordinate clause is concurrent or subsequent to the main clause, or if my subordinate clause happened before my main clause. Let's look at some different examples now. What if I say, credevo che tu fossi alla festa? I believed that. So my main clause is actually previous to the present moment. So some time ago, I believed that you were at the party at the same time. So my subordinate clause is concurrent to the main clause. My main clause is in the past, so I'm going to use imperfect subjunctive in the subordinate clause. Another example would be, credevo che lui avesse comprato una Fiat. I believed that, so this is my main clause, I believed, that he had bought a Fiat sometime before that. So my main clause is in the past, but my subordinate clause talks about something that happened even before that. And I'm using pluperfect or past perfect subjunctive. Another possibility that I have is I can use a conditional in my main clause. I can say, sarebbe bene se, it would be good if you could come with me. My main clause is hypothetical, it's a conditional, but in my subordinate clause, the action is actually concurrent to that main clause, and so I'm using the imperfect subjunctive. Sarebbe bene se tu potessi. It would be good if you could come with me. I could also in my subordinate clause use the past perfect to say that it would be good if you had done something before that. So I could use the past perfect subjunctive. Let's look at the rule. I have many options here for the main clause. It could be any of the past tenses, or it could be any of the conditionals, but still in the subordinate clause I only have two options. I can either use the imperfect for the action that's concurrent or subsequent to the main clause, or I can use the past perfect if the action is previous to the main clause. So in these situations I cannot go back and use the present or past subjunctive. So in every situation you only have two options. So take a look at your main clause, and that determines your two options. So you always narrow it down to two, and then you only have to decide whether it's concurrent or previous. Let's look at another example where I use a lot of subjunctive, and these are hypothetical clauses or if clauses, frasi ipotetiche. Let's look at one. Se io arrivo in tempo, ti chiamerò. If I arrive on time, I will call you. This is realistic. This can happen. Realtà. So I have really no need to use the subjunctive here. Se io arrivo, if I arrive, I will call you. So realtà indicates that there's no need for the use of subjunctive. However, look at this one. Se io fossi in te, Ti chiamerei. This is not reality really because I cannot be you, I'm not you, but it's a possibility. You can still call the police. So if I were you, I would call the police. You can still call the police. This is still possible. But here in this example, I am going to use the imperfect subjunctive. This one, however, is different. Se io avessi avuto più soldi, avrei comprato un fuoristrada. If I had had more money at the time when I was making my purchase, this is all in the past, I would have bought an SUV. Can I change this? No, because I can't go back in time. This is impossible. It cannot happen anymore. And so in this case, impossibilità, I'm using the past perfect subjunctive in combination with the past conditional. This is the rule. If in the if clause, my hypothetical clause, I have either present or imperfect subjunctive or past perfect subjunctive, that determines what I'm going to use in my independent clause. And so look at all these tenses here. These are my options. So I know this is very complicated. It's a difficult subject. So if you have any questions after watching this video, and I urge you to watch it more than once, email me. Ciao, ciao.